Hi, I'm Matt, and while I'm not working on my next actual video, I thought about making a video about a character I really do hate, and that is Lisa Simpson. And while the idea of hating a fictional character seems really stupid, and frankly it is stupid, if I make my point convincing enough, you will exit this video hating her as much as I do. So before anything starts, I'm mostly talking about modern Simpsons. Uh, so after there was the transition from using animation cells to HD animation around 2008. So it's from 2008 from nowadays. That's where most of the where I started really not liking Lizard. Uh, And let's start it out of the gate. Most episodes, she's insufferable. She plays that part as uh, the nerd. That she plays the part as that one character who can't really get anyone to can see anyone having fun, can't let anyone have fun. Everything has to be about her, and this is gonna be a next big one of the big arguments I'm gonna make here. Even the causes Lisa Simpson tries to make, like activism, protecting nature, she's still using this as an artifact to get people's attention. But let's start with the first case. Now, this first case, there is an argument to be made that I'm wrong, being Bart versus Itchy and Scratchy. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the episode. So in this episode, Bart in this episode, there is a new reboot of Itchy and Scratchy, where they instead of Itchy and Scratchy, there's their feminine counterparts, and all the boys make a vow to not watch the episode, but then Bart watches the episode, and this is the first wrong date of Lisa Simpson. She records Bart's reaction, so Bart laughing at the episode, and uses it to blackmail him. And after that, he gets onto a whole new prankster group, all formed by girls. And the whole point of the group is about spreading the word of feminism, and that's about right. But then that sounds right. But then when Lisa finds out, she gets mad, and that's the point where I say, you know, it's justifiable if you don't believe that the point I'm trying to make is right, because Bart really wasn't on the group because he believed on, feminism. He was more there because he wanted to make pranks. But I do get the feeling that Lisa simply didn't want Bart there because she felt like it was her place. She was supposed to be in there. She was supposed to be spreading the word, and that comes back around. I think she does all that because she wants to be the center of attention. She wants the recognition for, you know, uh, she wants to, say, "Oh, I did this. I did this, and that's why people are following me." Uh, the and that's it. There's another episode. I do not remember the name of this episode, but it's the episode where the episode starts when Bart's and Lisa's classroom go on a field trip, and there they go to the geysers, water sprinkler thingamajig, and there everyone's having fun. But Lisa gets mad. Gets mad for why? Because people are having fun while uh, global warming is happening. So she stands up in front of everybody and starts making a lesson about global warming. Like, oh, can't you see? You're all too stupid to see. The world is heating up. Everybody's gonna die, and you're having fun in a geyser. And while she's doing that, Bart puts a walkie-talkie on her backpack and makes a fart noise. Uh, and believe it or not, that was enough for her uh, to get a to don't really remember what's called, but basically putting so that he can't get within 30 feet of her, and basically his whole life is ruined by this. He now has to sleep outside of the house. He can't even go to school, so he has to have class with Willie, the groundskeeper. And you know what makes Lisa take that thing out of Bart so he can get closer to her again? It's because he was making a huge statue of her to burn, but she saw that statue as an offering, so she only got, uh, she only pardoned Bart because she saw him doing an offering, but for her almost, making a cult out of her figure. And in this episode, there's this whole thing where she wants to have all the attention, in both sections. So while everybody's having fun, she just has to come up in front of everyone and start talking about global warming, really killing the mood, killing the, really killing the mood. And uh, second of all, she only pardons Bart because she saw he made a statue of her. Even if he wanted to burn the statue, she still thought that was like a homage for her. Uh, so the next thing, so my next point here, it could be taken as oh, just a throwaway gag, but if they can milk the whole, if the if the Simpsons writers can milk the whole Homer entering a bush joke, then I think it's fair enough for me to use a gag they did once as an argument for why I do not like Lisa Simpson. So there is this one episode where one personal item is stole from every citizen of Springfield, and Bart is really upset because his stamp collection was stolen, and uh, and when Lisa hears that Bart collects stamps, she laughs at her face. She's laughing at Bart's pain for losing his hobby. Now, you know what I was reminded when this whole episode happened? In another episode, uh, Lisa's saxophone gets run over, and she gets a whole B-side story just focusing on her grief for losing her saxophone. And that doesn't really make sense now, does it? And that brings another point. Liz is a hypocrite. Uh, and primarily on this episode, uh, because when Lisa's hobby got destroyed, everybody had compassion for her. She started crying. She entered on depression. But when Bart's hobby gets destroyed or stolen, on that case, she laughs at his face. And that's the next point I have to bring. Lisa thinks she's better than anybody else, and this is one of my favorite points because I get to use the celebrity apparition episodes. So first of all, we start with the Lady Gaga one, the infamous Lady Gaga episode, which, along of being probably the worst Simpsons episode, is a case of me not liking Lisa Simpson. So in this episode, Lisa, to make a long story short, I really do not want to talk about that episode. Lisa gets into a fight with Lady Gaga, and she personally has to say sorry to Lisa. And the fight's for such a meaningless thing after all. Like, it's not even an argument about, you know, anything. Forget about it. No. The next thing, uh, the other part where Lisa uh, gets, makes me mad because of an apparition episode comes on the Billie Eilish apparition episode. So this episode already starts with a point of conjecture, with another point that makes me really angry about Lisa Simpson. That is, she thinks she's better than everybody else in Springfield. And that's again another throwaway joke, but in another a more modern episode, when she enters on a band, and there's this new boy. I think he also plays the saxophone, and she's like, "Oh, that was good, but remember who's the best one in here?" And in another episode, when Bart starts playing the drums and he gets invited to join a famous jazz band, Lisa gets mad. She's livid. He appears on the front uh, of uh, not books. No, Bart makes appearances on Bart gets recognition for playing the drums, while she starts singing. Oh, the best I got was an appearance on I don't know, another uh, gossip teenager booklet, but instead of being for gossip teenagers, it was for jazz players. And she just gets mad because Bart is doing something that she thought was better than him. And here comes another thing. The point that I was gonna make about this. So in the Billie Eilish episode, it starts with Lisa. She just feels like she's not good enough for any of these places. So she goes to the school's music class, and the class is crowded. Oh, she can't play because she can't hear her own saxophone. Well, tough shit. Nobody can hear their instrument, but they're still there. So she tries going home, and she can't hear her own instrument because Marge is uh, vacuuming the floor, and she's like, "Oh no, I can't get here." And she goes from under a bridge and starts playing the saxophone. And she goes under a bridge and she starts playing the saxophone. And Billie Eilish hears this, and she's like, "Oh hi, I'm Billie Eilish." And she points out, "Oh wow, you're Billie Eilish." And she says, "Oh, I really like your music." And Lisa points out, like, "Oh, yes, I just wish I had a place to play because everybody's just bothering up now, just bothering me." And she starts saying like, "Oh, I'm different than anybody else." And Billie Eilish, you know, conveys with that idea. More because it's a brand thing, I'm fairly sure, but it's that thing that you know she just feels like she's better than everybody else. She's different than everybody else. She wants people attention and recognition. You see, in every time we have a future episode of The Simpsons, most of the time Lisa is president. Is president. And for she wasn't always that bad, but at least when she was bad, when she was admittedly a bad person, for an example, in the classical episode Lisa the Vegetarian, she's being a bad person. She's prohibiting everybody else around her for not doing the things that she likes. But and then she gets her comeuppance. She talks to Paul McCartney. She learns that to live and let die. So let people do whatever they want. If it's not hurting you, there is no problem. But I know it's a sitcom episode. So what happens here really does not affect the rest of the writing on the story. But she seems even to forget that idea, and she does not get corrected by this. So there's another one. There's another episode where Lisa and Bart go to a better school, so it's like a future school. So they train VR. Their lessons are in the cell phone. They unlock skins, and Lisa she starts getting she starts getting mad because she's not smart anymore. She gets like a B instead of an A plus, and 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 she just can't get enough. Bart's having the time of his life there, but she can't simply have this. So she says, no, there must be something wrong. Although even there was something wrong with the school. After all, it was all training for doing shit like Uber. Uh, but still, if there wasn't anything wrong with the school, she would just be being a bad person. Just because she isn't the best at something, she gets mad. And I never understand the point of Lisa being pointed out as a social outcast. She has friends, she has love interests throughout the story, throughout Simpsons episodes, and she was never really alone. She suffered bullying, but it was never something that she was alone. She never had friends, like she says. Uh, so there is the uh, the what do you call Oh yeah, there was this one episode where Lisa gets, a new teacher, a new substitute teacher starts going to her school, and she does not like Lisa. She gives a B to her because she does not like her, and Lisa spends the whole episode thinking about, oh, why does not she like me? She cannot sustain the people not liking her, even though that does not make sense with the rest of her character. Her character is based around, being lonely and suffering bullying, even though she does not suffer bullying throughout most of the series. She's probably never alone. She's always with Milhouse or Bart or those weird twins. But then, even when something is supposed to go wrong for Lisa, it still goes weirdly right. So the teacher says at the end of the episode, when she's not needed anymore because she was a substitute teacher, she's like, "Oh, you wanna know why I didn't like you? Because pretty girls annoy me." And she's like, "Oh wow, I'm pretty," and so even when she is unjustifiably, upset, so when her whole character is supposed to be based around being smart, but there's a difference between being smart and being cocky about it. And she was supposed to be a social outcast. People made fun of her. So somebody making fun and not liking her was supposed to be uh, something common for her at this point. But on this episode, she just can't support the idea of somebody not liking her so much at the point that this starts breaking her. And at the end of the day, even for being unnecessarily paranoid, giving her character, she still gets something out of this. Somebody calling her pretty, and that's the whole thing of many people talk about Flanderization for Ned Flanders, but I feel this happened a lot with Lisa. So at the start of the series she was smart, but she was still prone to errors, and her errors weren't provided only by her ego. She still made mistakes by like everybody else, but now she's just a freak. Like there's this one episode where school is off, and she at the start of the series, she would be happy like any other kid would be. Oh, it's a snow day, everybody's happy. But in this episode, she just can't sustain it. She starts freaking out. She has a, a, a package that's like a school simulator. Uh, her personality was basically reduced for being a know-it-all, school-loving, not even kid. She does not act like a kid anymore. Uh, she does not play with other kids, which arguably isn't wasn't ever a trait of her character, but she does not act like a kid anymore. And I got this feeling by the episode where she becomes a programmer. But you know, uh, at this point, because I saw that episode and she was like, "Oh, just casually, she learned to program, and in less than a month of her programming, she was like, "Oh yeah, I made the most advanced AI in the world. She can see the AI can see the future." And it kind of infuriates me because at this point, Lisa uh, isn't even a consistent character. She anything that takes a lot of a lot of a lot of time or a lot of effort to be put. She just can say, "Oh, Lisa is smart, so she can do it." And I know, again, I know it's a fictional character, so it really does not matter. But uh, uh, it's still, I feel like because she started being written like, oh, she can do anything because she's smart. She can, learn programming in a month and, make the most advanced AI the world has ever seen. Or, she could write a comic. And this episode is very interesting. It was one of the, times where Lisa was proving she cannot do something, and it was making a comic. And this episode, she could not make the art of the comic, so she asked help for Marge. But she was still writing the episode. Lisa was still writing the comic, and even when the Broadway show for the comic uh, is supposed to be being made, Marge gets annoyed because Lisa isn't writing. So it's another thing she can just do. And I feel like because they started writing Lisa as a character that can just do anything because, oh, she's smart, oh, she's a social outcast. uh, it started affecting the way they write her ego. So she feels like she's way better than everybody else on Springfield. And when something does not go her way, or her expectations of herself uh, get shattered, she just breaks. But even when this happens, there's still a compensation for it. There's still somebody to say, "Oh, you're pretty. Oh, I'm Billie Eilish and I like your music." Even when it's not justifiable why she's acting like this, the universe still rewards her for acting like a shitty person, for blackmailing her brother, by bullying other people because his hobbies got destroyed, literally making so that her brother has to live like 30 feet away from her at every time. And that's something to say about modern Simpsons. When it's going to end is well, your guest is as good as mine, but I don't think there's enough time to make Liz a redeemable character again. When at the first season she was, a book smart, social outcast, but still lovable character. Now Lisa is a genius egomaniac, which both everybody likes and bullies her for no apparent reason. And that really infuriates me. Uh, so yeah, that's the end of the video. I'm probably gonna post this without any editing. So if you're still up here, no. So if you're still listening to the video here, uh, the next video is probably gonna be about a whole lot of Alice in Wonderland adaptations. I've got some in mind already, but I'm still gonna do some research and actually record the audio and the clips for the video. And I think that's it. Bye.